Right. So let us get started. And before we get into today's class, let us see what we have done in our last class. Okay. So we have been discussing about network security group, and then we were able to create one network security group, right? So today what we would do is we would create a virtual machine, and for that virtual machine we'll try to create one network security group, and we would also try to create one network security group for the subnet as well, Okay, right. So let us get started. Right. Okay. So while this is logging in, let me go ahead and then Azure network security group. Okay. Let's create NSG for the VM. Okay. Right. So let us see what are the resource groups which have. So I'll be deleting this resource group, this VNet learning. Let us start everything from scratch. Okay. So first create a resource group, and then we would be creating a VNet. Okay. So once we create a VNet, while creating a VM, let's attach NSG, network security group. Okay. Right. So let me go to home, resource groups, and add a resource group. And let me call it as networking. Okay. So the resource group is created. Now let me go to virtual networks and then create a virtual network. Let me call this virtual network an entire virtual network. Entire virtual network. Okay. So next, what would be the IP address range? I'd be giving the IP address range of 192.168.0.0/16. Okay. And then I'll be creating subnets. My first subnet's name would be web subnet with the CIDR range of 192.168.0.0/24. Okay. And let me add three more subnets. Okay. Which is business subnet. Okay. 192.168.1.0/24. I hope nothing is new over here other than names. Let me go to IP address. I have clicked on. Let me add two more. Okay. So I'll call it as DB subnet 192.168.2.0/24. And then one subnet which I would be calling as, oh man, why am I clicking this review and create? It's okay. I'll go with 3 subnets. We can add the subnets later also. So the subnet deployment has started. Right. It has finished. So my subnet is ready. If I want to add the 4th subnet, I can go over here in the subnets. And then I would say that I want to add my 4th subnet, which I would call it as management subnet. Okay, it has given 3.0, which is okay. And right. So now I have 4 subnets, right? So shall I create a virtual machine? I'll create a virtual machine. I'll be creating a free virtual machine itself. Okay. So let me quickly draw the image of what I am trying to create. So I am creating a VNet, and in this VNet there will be 4 subnets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So this VNet will have a range of 192.168.0.0/16, and here I am creating a web subnet. Okay. My web subnet will have a range of 192.168.0.0/24. Okay. I hope these ranges are not required, so I'm not drawing them. Okay. Web subnet. This I'll call it as management subnet. Okay. And this subnet I'll call it as business subnet. And this subnet I'll be calling it as DB subnet. Okay. So now I'm creating a virtual machine. Azure VM logo. A virtual machine in the web subnet. Am I clear on this? Right? So, right. And when I create the virtual machine in the web subnet, okay. So, by default, every machine in the Azure can get an internet connection as long as it has public IP address. So, this machine will have a private IP as well as a public IP. Okay. So, this is public IP. Obviously, we'll have private IP. Right. So, am I clear on this? Yeah. And this machine is running a server, a web server, Apache web server on port 80. On port 80. So port 80 should be exposed to the outside world. This is port 80. Okay. So apart from port 80, nothing should be exposed to the outside world. Only port 80 should be exposed to the outside world. Am I clear on this? Okay, guys. Am I clear on this? Whatever image which I have drawn. Okay. So the web subnet will have copy path. Okay. Right. Let's while creating the VM in the web subnet. Okay, let's attach NSG to allow, okay, public internet communication only on port 80. You can do along with me. All right, fine. What is the image with number? Or not saved it, is it? Yeah. Oh, good. I've not saved it. Copy path. Let me go over here. And this would be VNet 60. Okay. Images slash VNet 60.png. So shall we do this, guys? All right. So I'm creating a virtual machine. My virtual machine name is Qt Web. It is in region East US. Okay. I'm okay with Ubuntu server. And I'm going with a B1S, which is a free machine. Okay. My username, I'll put it as Qt DevOps. My password, I'll be setting some strong password. So while creating the virtual machine, are you seeing this inboard port rules? Sorry, inboard port rules. Okay. Yeah. So inbound port rules indirectly create an NSG. Okay. We will not be using that. Understand that stuff. We'll not be using inbound NSG. So we'll be using none over here. So what we would end up using is we would end up using none. We'll let us create our own NSG. Okay. But if you want to allow only 80 port, what you can do is you can basically say that allow selected ports and I want just 80 port. Am I clear on this? This could be done. Okay. So this can be done. Okay. Right. 60. Okay. 61 and 62 are same thing for me. Right. So 62. Okay. And 63. Okay. If you select just HTTP, okay, our goal will be achieved. But we will be creating an NSC. Okay. Am I clear on this, sir? We will not be using this. You can do this, but the whole idea is I don't want to do that. So I'll basically select it as none. Okay. So I'll go to disk. Right now, disk is not my concern. Networking is definitely my concern. So I'll go to networking. So in networking, I'll try to tell that I want to select entire subnet. Okay. And this machine is basically created for web tier. This machine will have a public IP address. Okay. So In the networking section, basically go ahead and select your entire subnet and web subnet. Okay. Then over here, okay, we'll be selecting this advanced section. We'll be selecting this advanced section. Okay. Right. Navigate to networking tab. Okay. Now what I would do is I'll go to the advanced section. Okay. And then I would say that I want to create a new network security group. Okay. I'm quite sure we know how to create a network security. So I'll be calling it as Qt Web NSG. I will be adding a inbound rule. Okay. Right. One minute. Let me go over here and then let me click on create new. Okay. So I'll be calling it as Qt Web NSG. Add a inbound rule. Okay. In inbound rule, I'll try to tell source is any and the port is 80. Protocol is any, right? And the priority rule is 900. Okay. HTTP inbound allow. Okay. And then I'm adding one more rule. One more rule. Okay. I'll not add a rule, but I'll go to this 1000. 1000 rule says 22 port allow. Okay. So we might need that. So I'm not deleting it, but ideally you should be deleting this rule. Ideally you should be deleting this rule. Okay. So do we want any outbound rules? At this moment, we don't want any outbound rules because we know that outbound traffic by default allows internet. So I'm clicking on OK. Am I clear with this stuff, sir? I have added a 900 rule. Yes or no? Is there any confusion over here? So every time whenever you are creating a virtual machine, unknowingly you are creating a network security group, right? So then rest of the stuff I am not worried. Okay. I will basically go with a section of review and create. Okay. So when we learn virtual machine, we'll understand what the other sections are. But at this moment, since we are concerned about our networking, so let me do this. Okay. Right. Review and create. Okay. Right. And then I'll call it as create. Create. That's it. Right. So let's wait for this virtual machine to be created. So right now on my virtual machine, how many ports are open? 22 port and 80 port. Yes or no? Right. Good. Good. Okay. We have already taken priority, right, Rakesh? There was one rule at 1000. The other rule I have written as 900. My 80 port was at 900 rule. So 900 means I have higher priority than 1000, right? Yeah. So while creating the virtual machine, is the NSG getting created? It gets created. Okay, good. Our machine is basically done, created. Okay, so the machine is ready. Okay, so machine is up. Okay, so let us look into this public IP address and let us do some tests. Okay, so let's experiment with public IP from our laptops, right? So this would be 68. Now, the experiments which I want to basically do is, first, should I be able to ping this machine or not? Should I be able to ping this machine or not? Network interface obviously gets created, right? Yeah? Okay. Right. So, should I be able to ping this machine or not? Can you please answer this question? Yes or no? This machine has a public IP address. Should I be able to ping it or not? Okay. Right. So let me copy this IP address. Go to my prompt and then let me try to tell ping whatever IP address it is. Okay. The first experiment which we have tried is ping. But is the ping working? Is the ping working, sir? Okay. First, ping public IP will fail as ICMP port, ICMP protocol traffic is not opened in NSG. Am I clear on this? So in NSG, do we have ICMP packets, ICMP protocol? But did we open that? No. So when we don't open it, how will ping work? Right? Because ping belongs to a protocol called as ICMP. Are we clear, sir? Right? The next experiment which I will try to do is, let me try to log in into this machine. Okay. Let's log in into the machine using SSH protocol. Okay. And it should work. Why? Because our SSH protocol is basically enabled. Okay. That was our 1000 rule. SSH Qt DevOps at the rate. Oh, sorry. the public IP address of this machine. So this itself will give you the confirmation that it is working. Okay. All right. So this stuff is working, right? Otherwise, you'll not see all of this. So now, should 80 port work? HTTP, should it work or not? It should work, right? So now let me take the public IP address of this, and HTTP means HTTP:// this, and it should work, right? But it is not reaching. Why? Is there any problem with our network? Okay. So you said that 80 port is open, but on your machine on 80 port nothing is working, right? There is nothing happening on port 80. Okay. If something is happening on port 80, the communication is work. Just because you have opened the port, nothing will happen. So what we would try to do is, let us try to quickly install Apache server. Sudo apt-get update and sudo apt-get install Apache 2-y. Okay. Right. Let me take the screenshot of this. Okay. So now let's install Apache server and navigate to browser on public IP HTTP:// whatever the public IP is. Okay. So that becomes my 71. Now it would work. Right. Okay. So is it done now? Oh, no, it is still working. Come on, sir. Yeah. Good. It is done now. Now let me try to refresh this page. So am I seeing Apache page now? Right? Right. So this is my 72. So is the network security group working as expected? Yeah. Now let's install Tomcat server, which runs on port 8080, and try to browse using public IP HTTP:// public IP colon 8080. Okay. Now let me show you that. Okay. So sudo apt-get install. Okay. Tomcat 8-y. This will take some time. Okay. But do you think will it work? No, it will not work because 8080 port is not something which we have opened. Okay. So installing Tomcat sudo apt-get install Tomcat 8 hyphen y. So are we clear with NSG now? NSG at a virtual machine level? All right. So this will take time. Then I'll try to basically show you the screenshot. Okay. That screenshot will not be any different. Colon 88. Okay. All right. So you will get the same screenshot even after the service is running because your port is not open. Right. 73. Okay. Now let's try to give NSG at a subnet level. Okay. So now let me try to basically go to this network image and then I want to give NSG at a subnet level. Okay. So let's try to create NSG for business subnet, which should not allow any traffic from internet. From internet, it should not allow any traffic. Okay. So shall we do this? Let me go over here, home, or I can go over here and then say create a resource also. Right. So create a resource. Okay. And here, network security group, create. Okay. And then I'm creating that in my networking and I'll call it as business subnet NSC. Okay. All right. So business subnet NSC, and then I would basically do review and create. I'm not interested about any other details. Right. Okay. Good. Okay. Right. So this is done. Okay. Sir, Rama, let me finish this stuff. Right. Then we'll worry about firewall rules. Okay. So when I speak about firewall, then you worry about firewall. Right now, please let me continue this. Right. Yeah. Okay. Now let me go to inbound security rules. Yeah. And then let me add a rule saying that source is what? What should I give over here? Any, or source is IP address. What is our virtual network's source range? 192.168.0.0/16. Okay. Port range is any. Okay. Priority, let me give it as 400. Okay. Allow all from VNet. Am I clear on this? So I've added a 400 rule. Okay. And then I would be writing a rule saying that allow nothing from internet. Source is any. Okay. Source port range is any. Destination port range is any. Right. And this rule will be, let me write it as 500. Here I'll be writing it as deny. Deny internet traffic. Okay. Okay. So I don't think so you require this image. Let me give the image of this. This should be more than enough. Okay. So here, let me write it. Okay. So in this, if you basically get into it, he's trying to tell this rule denies from Azure load balancer also. Okay. So just because you have denied everything, you will lose Azure load balancers and Azure VNets. For Azure VNet, we have added 400. So it is better that you add a 450 rule. It is better that you add a 450 rule for Azure load balancer. Okay. If you want to. If you want to. But since we are not using any load balancer, that should be okay. Okay. Am I clear on this? Now, will this subnet will get traffic from internet or not? Will the subnet get internet traffic from internet or not? Will it or will it not? Okay. Deny all inbound means I'll not be able to basically receive traffic from internet. But I don't mind sending the traffic to internet. So I'm okay with that. Okay. Deny all inbound and deny internet seems the same. Yeah, right now because we don't know the specific IP address of the internet, right? They are same. They are same. Okay. Clear on this? Or to be very specific, if you basically don't write any of the rules also, it will do the same thing. Okay. So there is no need for you to write these two rules. Okay. Even default internet gives you the same behavior. Default inbound rules. Default inbound rules will allow all sorts of communication. Am I clear on that? Okay. So writing or not writing is the same thing. So even if you don't write any rules, default rules matches the behavior you need. Okay. So let me go over here. And for me, if I delete this rule, 400 rule, okay. And if I delete this 500 rule, okay, then also whatever I want is basically the same thing. Okay. Right. So now I have NSG rule. Okay. Where is it? Come on, man, delete it. Okay. So because default inbound rules does exactly the same thing. Okay. So doing this or adding your own rules doesn't make any difference. Okay. So, right. Now let's attach this rules or this NSG to business and DB subnet. Okay. So shall we do that? I'll get into the subnet section. Okay. So in NSG, there will be a section called as subnets. And in subnets, you would see associate. Okay. Now, let me associate. Okay. With virtual network entire and with subnet business. Am I clear on this? All right. So in the same way, let me associate with entire subnet and then so can we attach subnet to we can attach subnet to two things. One is to a network interface, that is to a virtual machine. The other thing is to a whole subnet, to a whole subnet. Am I clear on this, sir? Right? Now 76, 77, 78 and 79. Okay. Now Azure reference architecture. No, not this. Not this. Hmm, whatever it is. So are you looking at this entire architecture? Yeah. So this is databases. No, 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 no. Where is web? Yeah, right. Web architectures. No. This is making life complicated. Right. Entire. I think they have renamed this whole stuff. Uh, yes, this is what I wanted. Yeah. Now, are you looking at this network, this architecture? Okay. Don't worry about the what do you call traffic manager and all of that stuff. Okay, and what this virtual network peering is and all of that stuff. So, are you seeing there is one region and second region? Okay, this is region US West, US East. This could be region US West. Okay, so in this they want two virtual networks to be created, right? So now this is an exercise for you guys. Okay, exercise. Okay, create two virtual networks in two different regions. Okay, with subnets. Okay, web, business, and then DB. What else? Okay, management, and then AD subnet. Okay, remember IP ranges should not collide. So you cannot give the same IP ranges in the two regions. Okay. Because in the future we are going to use both of them. Okay. Am I clear on this, sir? So will you be able to do this? Okay. There are load balancers in here. Don't worry about all of that stuff. I want you to create 5 subnets in virtual network in region 1 and 5 subnets in virtual network in region 2. That's it. Can you guys do that? Yes or no? Right? Okay. So create a network. Okay. So ensure subnet NSGs are in place. So you should be able to create for every subnet there should be NSG. Okay. You are not creating any machine. So you will be creating only virtual network with CIDR ranges. So obviously you are speaking only about private IP address. Okay. So public IP address comes into play when you are creating virtual machines, right? Right now you are not, not asking you to create any virtual machine. Okay. Right. So do this activity. And what we would do in our next class is we would try to understand what application security group is. And then what we would try to do is we would try to do all of this activity in Azure CLI and Azure PowerShell. In Azure CLI and Azure PowerShell. This creating the network stuff. Okay. Right, sir. So I'll stop it at that. And then we'll meet again in your next class. If you have not configured CLI yet, please ensure that you configure using the YouTube video which I have given in the previous classroom notes. Okay. Thank you, sir. So that is what I had for the day. All right. What is the difference between public IP in Azure? Okay. Public IP and private IP. Sir, Rakesh, I think public IP means you can access it over the public internet. Okay. So for example, private means it is present only within the Azure virtual network. Please watch through all the videos, sir. I know you have joined late into Azure, but please go through all of the videos, right? Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Yeah, yesterday's class got cancelled because I had some errands to run and I couldn't manage that without cancelling the classes. So that's the reason why I had to cancel the class. Yeah. All right. Okay, sir. Fine, sir. Thank you.